And we're live. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be, and welcome to another scene in New York by night in the Vampire Venue. Tonight's scene finds us in the studio of one Leonardo Vanore, and Leo and his sheriff Frank just came back from the war council that was held on the Arkan's ship. And we start our scene with one Leonardo working away at his various pieces of cloth with Frank on a wheelchair, like, around where Leo's working. I know I ignored you, Frank, in the past months, but that doesn't actually mean I don't care for you. You are blood, after all.
No, I know. It's just... Okay. I've kept the clan as good as it can be up until this point. Up until, I was betrayed. I was trying to keep the clan together as possible. It's just that a few of us have just gone down for very, very unnecessary reasons. And I was kind of left with the bag at the end of it.
It happens, Frank. More power to you that you managed to what's the word? I hate English. It's such a barbaric language. How do you say? You managed to survive after all of this.
Yeah. Remember the guy you placed originally as Claw?
Roy?
Yeah, Roy Blackwell. Roy Blackwell never wanted that position. Roy Blackwell begged me to take the position away from him, and I told him that I would not take it unless he was no longer able or capable of it. Eventually we took a little bit of a trip up to North Brother Island, and he was one of the casualties. He was one of the people that did not come back. So he pretty much just left me in the Claw position to hold the clan up while you were gone. Now, I didn't have to do this. I thought it was the best thing for this clan, so I did so. And every so often, the care packages that you sent back from Europe, they were very, very helpful. You got me out of some tough jams and actually was able to do the clan a bit of service while you were in Europe, just with the small favors connections that you still had.
And just to clarify one thing, Frank. Yes, my official story is that I left the city for Milan's Fashion Week. The problem is, we're in July. Milan's Fashion Week is in March. I left in May.
Alright.
Google stuff. So I actually had to take care of other stuff. It wasn't going back to supply on silk and cotton and stuff like that. I can have it flown over. I'm not that old. I know how to work a phone. Problem is that there were problems with the clan back home. And Italy is a completely different story. At some point, when you have more of our clan, we could gather around the fire like we used to do and share stories, and I could tell you about how back home looks right now and how it used to look. I realized that you, me, and Ellen are all the clans got right now. But we need to survive, and we need to survive without people trying to claim that they are anarchs or independents. I know that the blood is young and runs hot in your veins, and you want less authority and less people to push you around, and you want to protect yourself and your child. And I know
Leader, it was never about the yoke. It was never about the chain. It has always been the security of our blood. It's just in the past few nights, a lot of people have been telling me different things. The fact that the Camarilla needs us more than we need them. That every single night that we work under them, we're going to suffer more losses, unnecessary losses, just for the fact that we're going to get thrown out there.
And just for the sake of starting the first tie roll, Leo's gonna use a really fatherly tone with Frank, and I'm gonna roll manipulation empathy to be all fatherly with Frank.
Yay!
One, two, three successes on a standard DC.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you basically believe the fact you actually believe that Leo is actually trying to do his best to keep the clan alive and well.
Alright. Alright. After Roy Blackwell, at least, there was a period of time where we were expanding. We were growing. We had a few neonates or insula by the name of Rock and Paragos. They did very, very well for themselves. Paragos had set up his own small little domain. He didn't bother with any of the Camarilla society or politics. He mostly stayed to himself, but it did him well. He was very, very secure. He survived well enough out there in Long Beach. Rock?
Let me share you on a little secret, Frank. I know I tend to brag about my age. I know my age is a reason of pride, even among the other clans. The problem is that age is not everything, and numbers are not everything. Yes, we are in a war. Yes, numbers are useful, but you're a neonate. There are other neonates from other clans. I know that you become getting betrayed by DuPont is a strong blow. That doesn't mean you can't find friends among the other clans. I know your clan's your family. I understand the ties of the blood. I'm very fond of our family as well. But sometimes you need to find other friends, and sometimes, yes, our clan, like other clans as well, gets reduced to a matter of 3 people, 4 people, even less. There was a time back in Florence when I was a one-man clan, and I was a neonate back then. And I
Leonardo,
had to survive.
it's just the manner, the way that they left us, the way that the judgment was handed out. I could feel so much hatred off of Rock. I could feel so much betrayal coming off of Paragos, even while they were staked and tortured before me, and I delivered them to the prince. That
Yes, I
stuck
know.
with me.
I know. It feels like you're betraying your own kind, but you did your duty, and you'll be justly rewarded. And I'll make sure, and I can even make a blood oath with you that I'll make sure that the fact that nothing happens to your children. And that
That
this. Go ahead.
that is like the most important thing to me at the moment. Her. I I don't think I would have gotten out of that dungeon if I didn't think that I had to just make sure that she got safe.
Well, yes, okay, I understand. I'm sorry. It's mostly my fault that I hasn't been around, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. I still have my duties to my hometown, and it's not my fault that my hometown is thousands of miles away.
No, I don't. I really don't hold it against you. It's just a lot of things happened on my watch that I really wish didn't happen.
And I'm thinking that at this point, the two might be interrupted by the sound of the buzzer.
Yep.
Mhm.
I did try using the sound effect, but I don't think you guys heard me.
Nope.
Ah, well. Yes, so the only problem is that over in the chat, Lisa's just said she can't hear you.
Fair enough.
Okay, out of character, we can drag this a bit longer until Lisa's back.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
go ahead. Hopefully she'll be back in a second. It will. Can you hear us? Lisa?
Mhm.
The joys of elevator music.
Yep.
Sorry, people, technical difficulties.
I think we can hear
We
that.
can hear the typing. Oh,
Yep.
good. So the doorbell goes.
And the two ladies, because I'm presuming that you're coming together.
Yep.
The two ladies are gonna be met by two large, really burly bodyguards in front of them, and at the same time, from upstairs, Leo and Frank watch a screen. Aren't these two girls the ones that were at the council on the boat?
Yeah, I recognize that one as Ghost. I told her to meet up with me afterwards, and apparently that's the lady.
Ah, yes, my presumed fiance for the couple of months or whatever they want me to call her, regardless. And the two burly bodyguards are just gonna sidestep and allow the lady's passage towards the elevator and up to the studio.
And Lady Sheridan will lead the way in. Just by...
Has Lady Sheridan been to this place before?
Nope.
It's basically a huge room with windows on basically all the four walls are covered with windows, and you have a lot of coat hangers, a lot of coat racks, a lot of pieces of cloth of different kinds and different colors, all cut up into different shapes. You have mannequins, what you'd expect to find in a tailor's workshop, except it's like times 20. And you find...
Well, I usually use the rooftop of this building. I have a little garden set up there. Go on.
Okay. And you'd see a large table with a chair, and on top of that table a piece of cloth that Leonardo's working at, and one Frank Green in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady Sheridan will nod to Frank, and I believe we need to discuss arrangements. This will be to Leonardo.
And Leonardo just turns, ah yes, of course, for the show. And Leo just extends his hands towards a vacant chair. Well, take a seat, we don't need to start working right away.
She'll sit crossing her legs at the ankles rather than the knee.
Leo just looks at both ladies. Can I interest you in a drink? And then you can see his face turning a bit squeamish because he just remembered that Lady Sheridan's adventure.
Thank you for the offer, but I'm afraid I'll have to pass. She'll glance to Ghost.
Ghost followed Lady Sheridan into the room, a few steps behind, and she seems to be looking around, assessing the environment. And she moves, stands slightly to the left of Lady Sheridan and looks down to Frank Green. I believe we have business to discuss as well.
Yep. Do me a favor, my dear Ghost. Could you wheel me into the next room?
No problem. She takes the wheelchair and pushes him.
Alright. So, as they exit the room to let the Primogen and the Ventru talk, Frank Green simply says, "Okay, so, can you tell me, what in the world was your name brought to my attention?"
Because I said to our now prince, she corrects herself.
Okay, so you talked to Mr. Silas about becoming a hound, and he eventually pointed you in my direction. Okay, so what makes you a hound? What do you think a hound should be capable of?
I think we have technical difficulties again.
Alright, we'll go ahead and switch over to the Primogen.
So, Lady Sheridan, if I remember right.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so apparently we need to turn you into the vision of beauty that the media wants to see at the hands of a fashion designer as well known as myself.
She'll raise an eyebrow.
You don't read fashion magazines, do you? Not even a small glimpse on some of the more common ones? My name tends to show up.
I'm afraid that I have rather better things to do than to peruse magazines for the names of the people in them. But I'm sure you're very well known, given the amount of people clamouring for your suits.
I not only make suits, I make dresses as well. Which reminds me, and Leo just gets up from his chair and looks at Lady Sheridan. Would you mind standing up for me?
She'll do so.
He looks around her like. I'm thinking she's wearing that dress in the picture, right?
Yep, that's why I picked it out.
Yeah. I'm afraid that won't do for a fashion show. It's nice as a cocktail dress, but no. Simply no. Black is just simply not your color.
Perhaps, but we're not currently at a fashion show.
Yes, but in 2 or 3 days' time, if I need to check my schedule, we're supposed to be, unless you have other arrangements, and it might be the perfect time to introduce the new belle of the ball, so to speak.
Well, I very much look forward to your suggestions then.
Yeah, okay, you can take that off, and he just sprints with celerity, and you can see him piling like half a dozen dresses that most of them are her size, but some of them are a bit too tight and some of them a bit too big on his shoulder, and like some of them in the weirdest shades of green and purple you've ever seen in your life. He puts them on the table. Okay, you can take that off now.
Yep, and she will undress with very little sign of modesty.
I might have underestimated your size. Then you have a nicer body than I expected. Anyhow, see if any of these fit.
And she'll try them on quite happily.
Okay, and the second thing we need to do is create an alibi for you. Doesn't have to be foolproof, it just has to be good enough to work for at least for the first couple of weeks. I know it's in bad taste to ask a lady her age, but I'm gonna do it anyhow. So how old are you, my dear?
Before or after the embrace? Or total?
Preferably total, just to...
30.
Jesus, you're young. And did you cover your tracks about your mortal life? Do you still have family around?
I didn't have much connection with my family when I was alive.
Yes, but seeing your face on the front page of a newspaper might, or a fashion magazine, or seeing your face on TV might attract the unwanted attention and cause a potential masquerade breach.
I severely doubt it. But I will certainly look into ensuring that any loose ends have been tied up.
Okay, and we need to find you. Okay, let's see. So you're the latest sweetheart, so to say, for lack of a nicer term, of the infamous Leonardo Vanore. I'm thinking you're accustomed to media and press and photographs being taken. Cameras pointed at you.
I generally tend to avoid too many photographs, given the need for discretion. But I'm not unfamiliar with it.
Well, unfortunately, if you want influence in the media, your face has to show off.
Of course. I'm well aware of that. I'm quite prepared for it.
And let's see. Nah, Mary is a bit too common. We need to find a name for you. Something not too common, not too exotic. Any ideas?
Alicia de Barbarac.
Yes, it could work. It's exotic enough, but you need to check that little alibi, see if it works. You might actually end up being someone that you're not. Well, that's what you're gonna do in the first place, but still, there might be an Alicia walking around the streets, and we might not know it.
It's quite possible. It's not something we have to decide immediately, but it's something to take into consideration, certainly.
And quick out of character question. Is Lady Sheridan's humanity higher than 6 or higher?
Yeah.
Fair enough. So she looks human.
Yep, though she doesn't have blush of health, but she's very skilled when it comes to making it look like the reason she is so pale is deliberate.
Yeah, but I thought that if you have humanity 6 or higher, you'd basically look like a
yeah,
human
you
being.
pass. You pass.
Not technically. I think you need to have humanity 8 to look flushed unless you have blush of health.
I'm just saying you pass as human unless people are deliberately looking for it.
You don't look really dead.
Okay, so I think that you're not. The curse of our blood has not tainted you enough for you to be as pale as you will eventually end up. AKA, just so you know, Leonardo's humanity 8, so he basically looks like a guy in his late 30s, but you wouldn't even think that he's not human. Okay, so we have the dress. Have you picked the dress that you like?
There are so many good ones to choose from.
I'd go for a red one. It always gets the paparazzi started.
Red is one of my favorite colors.
And even if they don't fit, we can make them fit. Or make a new one.
Yes, I do think the red one is rather nice. It's got a certain flow to it.
Yes. Might be in the few small modifications. Leo just extends one of his claws like about this much, and just starts cutting a bit at the material, just making fine adjustments and fine cuts, and then coming with a needle and a piece of string, just making sure that the modifications are not obvious. There we go.
Perfectly still for this.
There we go. So, I have some little homework for you, my dear. I want you to get an alibi that's foolproof. And preferably some little mundane stuff. I don't know, the profile on the face of books, or however the kids call it nowadays, or stuff like that.
She'll smirk. I think I can handle that.
Traceable stuff, so the paparazzi actually might eventually end up to find out who you are. Maybe a sister, some kids, some.
Give them something to dig for.
Yeah, give them something to dig for, basically. Keep them busy for like a week. Because I know the Nosferatu can come up with a decent alibi for someone, but it usually takes months, and for both our sakes, I hope this doesn't have to linger for a few months.
She'll nod in response.
Okay. And how skilled are you in the talents of the blood?
Well, I'm quite new, but I have been working on them.
I remembered what you did to Lyman back there, so I'm thinking that the occasional stalker will not be a problem for you.
No. I might even be able to acquire one.
Yes, they could always come in handy. Any foreign languages you speak?
Not as yet.
Okay. Let's see. You're tall enough. You're out of character. What's her appearance?
3. It's right there on the top.
Sorry,
It scrolls across.
couldn't make it out.
Ah, sorry.
You're pretty common looking, but people might think that a fashion designer is tired of a model and he's looking for more of a common figure too.
She won't look impressed by that comment.
She doesn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So consider the dress a gift from me, and I expect to hear from you in the coming nights, and be ready. I'll send you a message or an email or something to tell you exactly the details. But you're gonna have to be answering a lot of weird questions, and have a lot of pictures taken, and potentially give an interview.
I understand. But we don't want to give them too much. Got to keep their interest.
Yes, but I think I can trust your abilities to do that. I'm just doing my job here.
Of course.
Not to mention the fact that I can count on some of my other contacts to provide the occasional paparazzi picture for us.
Of course. It seems like between the two of us we should have everything well in hand.
Well, I think we can cover it, but let's see what our friends are doing, because we've left them alone for quite some time. It's not that I don't trust.
And we would head through, but we want to give you guys time to actually have your conversation first. So off you go.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen. Back in time, just a little bit. We have Ghost pushing around Frank Green in his wheelchair. Ghost, you will definitely feel 2 eyes on the back of your head as we pass a little bit of a mousy girl who sort of gets waved off by Frank to let you go ahead and push him around. As we're just going to go ahead and take a small little tour of this studio. We go ahead and walk past different corridors with huge windows that lead out into Gramercy Park, or at least the landscape of the city, as Frank Green just simply goes ahead and gives you a small interview, starting with, okay, so because you went ahead and passed your name up to this initial, your name got passed to me. Fair enough. What makes you think that you have what it takes to be a hound?
She pauses a moment, then carries on pushing you. I'm not all I appear. I know people think the Bruges are just fists with faces, but I'm smart as well as strong. I've proved myself to the others in the Cabrilla. I'm sure you can ask around and find out.
Fair enough, but if I had to take my time to go asking around your reputation, well then that's time out of my night that I can't afford to waste.
You're only as good as your reputation, so they say. Unless you want more physical proof.
Yeah. Sometimes I need physical proof. Sometimes I just need a good head on your shoulders. My last hound that I actually trusted quite well was a Dr. Softly. Dr. Softly was able to impress me just simply with the tint of his knowledge of kindred affairs and old kindred lore. He was able to point me in the right direction, give me good advice on how to run the sheriff's office. I'll go ahead and admit to you, this is my first rodeo as a sheriff of such a great city as New York, and I'd like to think that I've been doing a good job with it. Maybe I'm a terrible judge of character, but at least I had some good hounds before they were all dead.
I'm very good at
Yeah.
not dying. It seems to be my specialty. Plenty of people have tried.
Fair enough. Tell me about your latest scrap. Tell me about a situation where your life was on the line.
My latest scrap was with a creature. I'm not entirely sure what it was. When myself and Lady Sheridan and Frederick of Clan Ventry went to clear out Mr. DuPont's sire's former abode, we found a large, menacing, hatchet-wielding creature within. It certainly wasn't human. I don't think it was a vampire because it didn't dust. But either way, it was pretty fucking grotesque.
Fair enough. How
Um,
did you dispatch this creature?
it was somewhat of a joint effort, but slashing and hacking and diving out the way when it swung at me. I preferred not to go into things full on. I'm more of an assessor. I'm a tactical fighter.
Okay, if you say so. Sometimes you need somebody with that certain expertise. How good are you with the gifts of the blood? Do you know how to use them?
I'm very, very strong. Stronger than the other neonates I know.
Are we very, very fast?
I'm getting there. Faster day by day.
Mm-hmm. Work on that one. That'll help you out too. Not that I would know personally.
I have some use of my abilities of charm.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Sometimes all you need to do is put on a scary face to make people run. So that was the last time you were ever in a bad
She grins at you.
scrape. Show it to me.
You want me
Show
to?
it.
You want me to go out of character? You want me to drag Casey?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. You have not beaten her in a physical fight, so she has a +1 when eventually my dice stream loads.
If you need to, I can roll for you.
No, that's right. I've got it now.
Alright, cool.
I'm going to spend a willpower point as well. Uh, 2 successes.
Okay, 2 successes. In
For
order
all shit.
to 2 successes for the dread guys. Right,
Oh,
awesome.
no, 3 successes. Sorry, with three with the willpower. My bad.
The one
No,
cancels
2.
out 7.
My brain's tired. Yeah, sorry, 2 successes.
Alright, cool. In order to resist that, Frank Green is going to have to spend a willpower point, which he does, and actually have to roll his willpower. Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah! It's a fantastic roll out for absolutely nothing. Okay, so this is what sort of happens. You go ahead and you bear the mane of Dreadgaze. You go ahead and make yourself more bestial looking. You go ahead and hiss and bare your fangs at Frank, and Frank just sort of takes it all in stride, goes ahead and looks at you rather coldly and stonily and simply says, "Alright, that's good. Could be better, but still, I think it'd be useful." Alright, so you're strong, you're scary, you say you're smart. That's something that I'll have to witness myself, Ghost. How smart are we? Have we ever been in a situation? Have you ever been in a Cold War, I should say? Have you ever had this about at your heels and you've had to make do, hide away? How good are you at the masquerade?
I used to work rather closely with the Nosferatu in London. I haven't been in New York very long. The Nosferatu were the ones that named me Ghost. Information gathering, using my city to pinpoint those who might be betrayers, camera, or infiltrators. We have a few of those in England as well. I could tell you a lot of stories,
I'm more than happy to hear them.
but all I ask is you give me a trial, see how I go. If you don't like me, then boot me out. Simple as that.
Frank Green is just going to go ahead and
I'm not asking you to trust me straight away. I know that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not going to ask you to trust
Okay,
me straight away. I know that trust doesn't come easy. Especially not to Kindred. In our position, your position. She looks at your dismembered figure.
Frank Green is just going to go ahead and trail her eyes to his beaten and battered form and simply hold his hand up in front of a window and sort of with his hands gestures towards it. The bourgeois of this city have only offered me all their good graces, and for the sake of your clan, I could definitely give you a trial period, and we'll see how things shake out. Ghost, given the tempore title of Hound, okay? Shake that around as much as you want to. Just know that if things don't pan out, I'm gonna yank it.
It's alright. I like having my chain yanked. Ask Lady Sheridan.
I'm gonna go ahead and do so.
She grinned.
God. He'll just grunt and say, "God damn, fucking Miss Smith." Sort of goes ahead and balls his hand to his fist and just hits his head for a few seconds. God damn you, Miss Smith. Okay. Right. You'll get the tempore title. You'll have a bunch of new toys to work with. I'll bring you into some not really secure locations to gather some equipment. And you can start bossing people around. Sound good?
Sounds good to me, boss.
Alright. Go ahead and leave your contact information at, and then Frank Ring remembers, oh right, I don't actually control this place anymore. Right. Just give me a number to call you by. It doesn't need to be your real number. It could be just a voice messaging system. But I need a number to call you by. And if I call you, I expect an answer.
She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a white card, business card type, and hands it towards you.
Frank Green will go ahead and take the card and pocket it in his jacket.
At this moment, the door of the room in which the two are discussing opens, and you could see Leo, really proud of himself, rubbing his hands, entering with Lady Sheridan, who's dressed in a new dress, red dress, that he provided for her. So, children, what do you think?
Give me a second, I will switch over out of character. So I was, there we go.
Frank Green will go ahead and look at Lady Sheridan in the new dress and simply say, well, you know, I think that'll work. Lady Sheridan, you...
Ghost has a sort of familiar... Carry on.
Frank Green will subtly notice the brief exchange between the Toreador, not Toreador, Bruja and Ventrue, and sort of roll his eyes and simply say, right. Lady Sheridan, you look magnificent. That's pretty
Thank
much
you very
everything you'll get out of me tonight. I need to retire.
Have you finished your conversation, Ghost?
Ghost is looking at you with a expression you might have seen earlier on in the evening. And she shakes her head briefly. Yeah, we're done.
Splendid. Is there anything else that either of you gentlemen would like to say before we leave?
Well, unless my sheriff's new hound would like something more appropriate
Pro
to dress into.
tempore. Pro tempore.
Yeah, okay. Your hound for the time being.
Fair enough.
Would she want to pick out a dress and actually something better to dress herself into? You can see the obvious look of disgust on Leo's face seeing what Ghost was wearing.
Ghost smiles with amusement. I have many dresses.
I was just trying to be nice.
And Lady Sheridan will smirk at this exchange.
Well then, ladies, I appreciate the visit, but I think our work is done and I need to feed and tuck in my sheriff for the day.
Ah, you make me sound like a baby.
I need to make.
I'm sure no one could ever you that helpless.
Hey, he was the one saying in the middle of Elysium that I don't take care of my clan. Now I'm gonna take care of him. Like he's a goddamn 4-year-old.
Fair enough. At least Elena will be happy.
You should tell her that you're here.
Don't worry, I'll make sure she knows. I don't
Well, I
want to
wish
scare
you
her
a-
again.
Oh. Well, I wish you a speedy recovery and a pleasant evening. Ghost, shall we? And this is where they will leave you to your conversation.
Let
Leonardo just nods at the two women and comes back to Frank. Well, Frank, you wanted nice treatment, you get nice treatment. Now, what story do you want me to read for you? I'm just pulling your leg, come on, you know I wouldn't do that.
You know, Vancor, it's actually really nice to have you back. Things are a little bit more cohesive with you around.
Yeah, and Leo just snaps his fingers at one of his retainers, and that retainer comes back with a bottle of blood, and he hands it to Frank. Come on, drink up, you need to build your strength, and apparently your foot soles.
One of Frank Green's feet is actually starting to peek through the quilted blanket that Frank Green currently has over his legs and says, "Holy crap, I can wiggle my toes on the right foot."
Yeah, because, and Leo just kneels and peeks under the blanket, because you don't have toes on your left foot yet. But something tells me we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Frank Green just goes ahead and lays rather heavily in the seat.
Yeah, reminds me of a certain encounter I had like a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It left me in a pretty bad state. I never thought I'd be so happy to re-see my left hand again.
I don't know what they did. I really don't know what they did. But apparently they cut off my hands and my feet for some odd reason. I have no idea. I wasn't in the mood, or at least in the position, to argue with my rescuers.
Fair enough. It's better to have you out alive and having to recover for a week than to have you back in a little urn as a pile of ashes.
I don't know, Leonardo. It's always the recovery period that takes the longest. I can take a hit, but enough damage, and I'm down about for the count.
Yeah, I know it's annoying when you don't get to do stuff out of the house. I know we're gangrel, it's in the blood. You need to see the sky above your head, not concrete.
Just go ahead and take me to the rooftop for a little bit. I set up a nice little greenhouse up there.
Leo just takes Frank from the wheelchair and puts him on his shoulder because he can actually support him, and goes with him to the rooftop. And unless there's something else you'd like to say, I believe we can end this scene here.
Okay.